Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Were you looking at my cleavage?
No, I'm checking out the microphone to make sure it's not visible.
I liked my version better.
Okay. You ready?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About House. I'm Todd.
I'm Oana.
Okay, today we're going to do update to the Las Vegas real estate market, housing market of Las Vegas.
Absolutely. And if you are in Las Vegas and are interested in buying or selling a home, please feel free to use our services. And if you are not in Las Vegas, are interested in buying or selling a home, please reach out to us and we have a network of agents ready to help you.
We're the founders of a startup called Referral Cloud. We have about 7,000 real estate agents across the country we can refer you to.
Right. We're done with the shameless plug. Now to the good stuff.
All right. Now the good stuff. Las Vegas real-time update. Live to the second. This date is literally like accurate to the day. So it's the day on this is Sunday, September 22nd. That's pretty darn close. We'll start over here with the market action index. It's 39. Which is still, it says a slight seller's advantage. Now, if it had been 39 in May, because it's normally higher in May, 39 for May would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, it would have certainly been a lot more favorable for buyers, even though it's a seller advantage. It would have been more favorable for buyers. That's clearly not the case, generally speaking, in the spring.
Yeah. This thing is indexed so that it doesn't matter what day of the year it is. It doesn't, like if September is relatively hotter than April, it'll still be a lower number because it's like price or something. It's not indexed. It is in a way an index, but it's not adjusted for time of year.
Right.
Right? Okay. We'll jump over here to the real-time market profile. Median list price, list price of new listings roughly about the same. Slight drop there week over week. That just means that more homes sold in the higher price ranges, or that more homes on the market in the lower price ranges, right? And then the new listings one is basically has been going sideways pretty much for the last year. Per square foot, this is interesting. We almost always from June to late September would see a slight drop in the price per square foot. Usually drops a couple percent and then starts going back up. That's a general thing. What happens is home prices tend to fall like a couple percent from maybe April to October, and then they go up 7% in the next 6 months. And then they drop 2%, they go up 7%. That's just kind of how it works, right?
Right.
$275 a square foot on the 7th of June, and it's $276 today. Could be some noise, could be the mix of houses, but it's not down. That kind of a little bit is surprising, right? With interest rates where they've been. We're gonna talk about interest rates and some other stuff too later.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Only other interesting thing on here, I got some really good charts we're going to show you. This inventory you can see is climbing, but it's climbing extremely slow. Matter of fact, when I show you the big chart, you're going to get a better picture about that. Here's the price per square foot. Now, this is smoothed out. This is the 90-day average price per square foot. That little diamond is today, on the right is today, and then the other diamonds are the same day every year. And then the all the way to the left, there's no diamond, but that's today which was September of 2019. Okay. Oana, home prices there was a little blip in 2022 when interest rates started going up and people saw it and flooded in and pushed prices up artificially for a short period of time. If you take that bump out and you look at home prices in Vegas from 2019 to today, you could pretty much draw a line between that. That's pretty... if you look too, if you see the little curvies where it kind of curves a little bit as it's going up, that's the spring to fall phenomena we were talking about. So you can see it's leveled off here. It didn't instead of dropping it kind of leveled off. This is kind of, that's pretty what, like if you're a heart doctor looking at a heart patient, that's you would say that's normal, right? That's kind of what it's supposed to do.
Right. I mean, if you're looking at it, it's a nice steady gradient with some meanderings along the way, but between 2019 and today, it's very clear that real estate values have increased.
Now, what's funny is if you watch any of the crash bro charts, they will show home prices look like they were going like this for 100 years and then like went straight up for like 4 years, right? But then you look at this and go, wait a minute, didn't Vegas have one of probably the top 4 or 5 markets with home price increases over the last however much time? Yeah, and what's other interesting too about this chart is it starts at 150. So that's not zero at the bottom. It's not like home prices are 5 times as much. If you were to back this chart off and look at it from 0 up the whole length, it looks Vegas home prices basically on average appreciated probably 4 or 5% a year and have never stopped.
Right.
And that's really what this chart's, except for that little bump in the middle, which was sort of the interest rate thing. This is the interesting one. This is inventory. Now, I pulled this down to a 7-day average, which makes it a little more volatile. But Oana, that dot, which is every today for the last so many years, literally we're right at the part where inventory is peaking every single year. Inventory peaks. If you go all the way to the left, that was the last normal market before the pandemic and all the other stuff that happened. And we were over 5,000 houses in Las Vegas. We barely over 3,000. This is available for purchase.
Right.
Now, Oana, Vegas is bigger than it was 5 years ago.
It is bigger. And what's funny is that, to your point, that this is the peak of inventory every year, Zillow agrees with you that the last week in September, first week in October timeframe is the peak of inventory. So if you think that Todd is optimistic about that, that's not the case. Lots of other data analytics show the same time frame as the peak of inventory.
Yeah, basically, probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll definitely see this start to turn. We're adding like 60 houses a week. We should be adding 200 maybe houses a week or something. Even if the rate it's increasing, it would take us 10 weeks to get to 4,000 houses. 10 weeks puts us into December. We will not have more the number of houses coming on the market in December, they'll be disappearing faster than they come on the market. As you can look at this chart, every year in December, the inventory is starting to decrease. What does this look like for the spring? If you could pick, let's say you were going to buy a house, your renter, your month to month, would you rather buy a house now? And I'm not saying now is a good time to buy. What I'm saying is this time of year. Would you rather get something in early October, or would you rather wait until March or April?
So if I find the right house, I would want to buy now. So I would want to buy now, number one, for finding the right house. Number two, because I probably have better environment in which to purchase. And what I mean by that is less multiple offers. Number three, I get the tax deduction for this year. So, lots of reasons I could probably go on, but that kind of lets you know where my head's going.
Here's another one, median days on market. I grabbed this chart because this is a pretty good idea of how fast and slow the market is. You can see 40 is, except for the market was super hot. 2021, the spring of 21, the spring of 22, 40 days on the market is pretty low. Honestly, this is median. Median should be 60. Supply of homes is usually 6 to 7 months. Supply of homes right now is 3 months, I think. So 40 days on the market means on average a house is on the market a month and 10 days and sells. That is not, especially this time of year, that's not the sign of a housing market that has fundamentally something wrong with it.
No, not at all. And you see this actually at all price points. So even the higher price points have a similar experience, even though they obviously have fewer buyers. So what that lets you know that the market's pretty even as far as the inventory. So throughout the price points, no price point has substantially more inventory than it can absorb.
This chart, I want to point out, we did use it on another video that we just made yesterday, but this is the national homeowner equity. And what's interesting is it's broken down by state. You can see Nevada over there in orange. It says 36K. That means the average homeowner year over year, their equity is 36,000 more. This is not only making normal payments and paying down their mortgage, but the appreciation is a combination of the two. There's only a few states that beat us. Actually, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states beat us. Some of the Northeast states did very well in the last year, if you see the red up in the Northeast. And then for some reason, Montana and Washington and California, of course, remember California, the median home price is like $1 million something. But 36,000 is pretty respectable for Nevada for a state that's not, median home prices here are still like 5 something. They're not a million. That's pretty good. As a percentage, we probably in the top 3, like percentage of home prices. We did pretty well. That's probably, would you guess that's going to keep, we would stay in the every year homeowner equity in Nevada would, if you had to guess 10 years, how many of the next 10 years would you say year over year they would be up?
So I would guess that we would be up almost every year, or year over year.
Over the next, you're not selling any rentals?
No.
Are you telling your clients to sell their rentals?
No.
Okay, hold on a minute. So you're a real estate broker. You make your money when people sell.
Yes.
They come to you to sell. You sell the house, you earn a commission.
Yes.
And you're telling them, hang on to the house, you'll make a ton of money.
I don't really have a whole lot of people that want to sell. I have more people that want to buy.
Okay.
Which is
with investors.
Yes.
They have done multiple purchases that keep coming back saying, I'm ready for the next, I'm ready for the next one.
Right.
But they're not selling. If in 2019, now we're going to show you the next chart here. I'm going to pull this one up because we're going to talk about, let's really quick before I go to our chart. If this chart went back to 2019, Nevada, the amount of homeowner equity someone would probably have would probably be 150,000.
2019. Okay, yeah.
From then to today.
Yeah.
If you had watched the housing crash video in 2019, it says, don't buy yet. Wait a year. Home prices will be 30, 40% less or whatever, and then buy. Oh, no, interest rates are too high. Don't buy a house. You've basically given up 150 grand. You've given up locking in a super low mortgage payment because you would have had a great low payment. How do you explain to somebody today, potentially, who wants to maybe start investing in real estate or whatever, that over the next 5 years, because everyone's saying, I missed it. Like, I should have bought a house in 2019 when I had the chance, but I didn't. Now I can't.
So I would explain it this way. I have an investor, and this investor purchased several properties this spring.
Okay.
And the price point for these properties were anywhere between, let's say, $330,000 to $430,000.
Okay.
So pretty good range, right?
Yep.
And those same properties now are each selling for about $30,000 to $40,000 more.
Wow. So,
and I mean like on the same street, like model match kind of thing.
About 4 of them, right?
Something like that.
So they've made $120,000 in equity. So it's not realized gains. It's not money in their pocket.
No, but the point is that these properties were purchased in the spring, and this is what they're worth 6 months down the road. And so for the people who say, well, this, like to your point that I need to wait, well, had she waited for interest rates to drop, then she would have missed out on all this equity.
She can still refi.
Yes.
All these houses, if interest rates tank, we've got some interest rate data we're going to show you here. So here's another interesting chart. This is negative equity share by state. This is the number of homes that are upside down, meaning what's owed on them is more than what the home is worth. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you go to Nevada, literally we have the lowest in the nation. Mm-hmm. The lowest. 0.7%. Now, Oana, some of this is because half of all homes in Las Vegas are on free and clear.
Right.
Okay. Now, all those homes are off the table. Mm-hmm. So the other half are homes with mortgages. And so even if you just go homes with mortgages, it's only 1.4%. Because we kept hearing about, but Todd, all those people who just bought, why are they going to get foreclosed? Like you said, if they bought in the spring, they could be up $30,000 and their payment might be higher than a rental house is. But what's going to happen in a year when when rates go down, they could probably just refi and get a payment less than a rental would be. And now rents will keep going up and their payment will get locked in, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that the goal? You say, hey, $2,600, $2,700 a month, it's really steep. But then all of a sudden, a year later, you refi, boom, $2,100. And then neighbor next door is renting, their rent just went up to $2,300. Then it goes up to $2,400. Then it goes up to $2,500. And then you're sitting at $2,100. Mm-hmm. And then in 10 years, it's substantially lower than going rents.
Right. The other thing is, to your point, this investor can wait until maybe the spring when maybe interest rates will be even more favorable than they are today. So waiting a year. And then those interest rates, for her might drop a point and a half. So, that's another thing. So that makes the rentals cash flow a little bit better than they do now.
There is, with this 0.7%, there is zero chance of massive foreclosures because we don't have any, we don't have foreclosures because we don't have a bunch of people upside down their house. They're not going to be the lowest foreclosure rate we've ever had in Nevada. In the city of Las Vegas, it's about 150 a year, which is about one every 3 days. We used to have 80 a day. So we literally have about 0.5% of the normal foreclosures that we normally have. Okay, here's the other magical thing if you look at this. If you want to know what's really happening, this is what interest rates have done for the last month. Now, if you look, every one of these rates is lower than it was a month ago. Some of these are substantially lower. The 30-year conforming is 6.062%. It's almost below. That was as of Friday. That was the last day that they're not tracked on the weekend. They're only tracked Monday through Friday. The 30-year jumbo 6.3. That's like a $1 million house if you're going to do that. Now, if you get portfolio loan, you probably get 4%, right? 4.5%.
I mean, you're going to get usually about a point below the going rate.
Yeah. So if the 30-year conforming is 6, you're probably going to get 5. The FHA rate 5.285. That's surprising. The VA 5.487, 30-year VA. The USDA 5.8, and a 15-year conforming 5.17. So those people who pay, I think at the peak it was 7.5%. If you got a 7.5%, 30-year conforming, you can just refi it to 6%, or you can wait and say, well, let's just see how things go in the spring. Maybe they'll be less, right? Where do you think these are going? Fed cut 6 more quarter point rate cuts between now and the end of 2025. 6.6 more, quarter points. It's 1.5. Do you think rates at least drop another 1%?
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, they're not going to match drop for drop. So that's important to make a note of that. So if the Fed drops over the next year 1.5 points, you're not going to see mortgage rates necessarily drop 1.5 points, but you will probably see mortgage rates drop somewhere around 1 point. That's probably very reasonable.
Okay, let's look at these charts and let's pretend it's the spring of 2025.
Okay.
And we'll just take another 0.5%, off of this by the spring. 5.5% 30-year conforming. This is where most people are going to be buying probably. Okay, you're putting some money down, right? There's a whole matrix for how much you put down versus what your rate is, right? 5.5%. An FHA would be 5.3%. Now you do have mortgage insurance on it. You would have to pay. A VA is now under 5%. It's just a little below. It's like 4 something, right? The 15-year conforming is it's like 4.6%. So you could get if you don't like the interest rate, you get 4.6%. Your payment's more because it's only 15-year amortization, but that 100%, people don't realize this. When the 15 year is more than the 30, let's say it's $400 more a month, the payment, 100% of that $400 is principal reduction because the interest rate is the interest rate, and the interest rate is amortized over many years. So you pay far more principal reduction by a 15-year. So the problem with the people have with 15 years, the monthly payment is generally more.
Right, but you can turn your 30-year into a 15-year without making that commitment, right? And the way you do that is by making extra principal payments.
You can, but remember, you're stuck at the 30-year interest rate.
You are.
So if you know for sure you can cut it, 15-year might be something to look at. If you're kind of like, hey, I don't know, maybe I don't save that much money every month, then maybe you don't want to do that. But that's something about. Okay, where does this take us? We've seen all the data with what's going on in Nevada. Nothing, literally we said 2 years ago and 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when all the crash bros, housing crash. Here we are, the highest price per square foot we've ever had at homes in Las Vegas. Home prices bounced around a little bit for a couple years, but have basically up pretty much every year, right? Where does this take us next year? Where is this in the spring? People want to know 2 things. How hard is it going to be to buy a house? Are there going to be a lot of houses available? And what does that look like?
So, when you were saying that, I got this vision in my head of, have you ever fed the ducks at the park? what happens, right? You go with you go with your bread or whatever it is that you're feeding the ducks at the park.
Yep.
And what do? As soon as you show up, they know that you've got food, and they all gather, and they're just clamoring, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that's the vision that I have for buyers. This whole idea of insufficient inventory to accommodate all the buyers that are going to be interested in buying this spring. So visualize that in your head, and I think you're going to get a pretty accurate picture of what to expect this spring. A lot of noisy activity, a lot of people trying to buy homes. You're going to have multiple offers. You're going to have, like I said, a lot of transactions and a lot of frenzy because you've had a lot of people sitting on the sidelines. And that's not just interest rate driven. It's driven by a lot of other things. First of all, seasonality, right? Because in the spring, we always have more transactions. The election will be over, so people will have settled down after that. Lower interest rates. We'll have a better picture of what the economy is doing maybe. So those people who maybe feel some uncertainty about where the economy is going, that should be a little bit more settled by the spring. So lots of things will be converging in the spring to make for a very active market.
I see this funny scenario where it's 2030.
Okay.
Let's call it 6 years into the future. And somebody's complaining that they can't afford to pay $700,000 for a median house in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And someone says, oh, well, I bought my house in 2024 and it was a median house and I paid $400,000 for it, maybe. And they go, oh, but prices were so low back then. They were so low. I mean, if I was in 2024, at $400,000, I would buy every house I got my hands on because those are all worth $700,000 now, right? Because that's what people do today. Oh, well, if I could go back in the time machine, like I'd go back to 2013 and buy every house I could get my hands on in Vegas. But today they're like, oh, the high prices are too high. Remember, 2017, home prices were the highest 2017, home prices the highest they'd ever been, including the run-up to the housing crash. The highest they had ever been. Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Okay.
But we're not saying that come 2030, homes will be worth $700,000. We're just giving this as an example.
At least.
All right.
So maybe condo. You might be able to get a nice condo.
Stop.
Okay. Here's the deal. Subscribe to the channel so that in 2030 we'll bring this video back up and we'll talk about our prediction what home prices are going to be. And I bet there will be houses in Vegas for $700,000.
There are houses for Vegas for $700,000.
Stop it.
All right. Well, if it made you laugh, informed you, bored you, whatever, remember to like the video, subscribe, hit notification bells, share the video. Leave us your real estate related comments. What do you think homes will be worth in 2030? Is Todd right? Will the median be $700,000? Leave us a comment and let us know what you think. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, but if you'd have told people 5 years ago that median home price would be, $565, what would they have said? They were $3-something. $380? They would have said, they're not going to be $565. That's almost $200,000.